committee meeting to order for Monday, August 10th, 2026. At this point, we don't have quorum, so we'll have to wait 15 minutes as policy. Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor, that the August 10th, 2026 Policies and Priorities Committee meeting agenda be adopted as presented.
Seconder, Councilor Julich. All in favor? Carried. Adoption of minutes for July 14th, 2026 Policies and Priorities Committee meeting minutes. Recommendation, please, Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor, that the July 14th, 2026 Policies and Priorities Committee meeting minutes be adopted as presented.
Seconder, Councilor Hoffman. Any errors or omissions from council? Staff?
Nope.
Thank you. Call the question. All in favor? Carried. Any business arising from the minutes, council? Staff?
Not that I'm aware of.
Thank you. Okay, presentations, delegations, Grizzly Valley Saddle Club, Corrie, Bolick, President, Jessie Maxon, Vice President, and Jennifer Callaway, Secretary, and attends to request council support for funding applications for the Grizzly Valley Saddle Club, facility upgrades, including fencing, barns, and an indoor arena. Please come up to the delegation desk, please. Floor is yours.
Thanks, Jess. Okay. So the Saddle Club is seeking to get several grants. We've been working with your guys' grant writer. She's fabulous. So our goal is to replace the existing barns, fences, and potentially have an indoor riding arena. So not only will that bring, we'll be able to have clinics, shows, everything, and not be restricted by weather or the year, other than our roads. With this, like as you guys all know, our Saddle Club is the oldest nonprofit within Tumbler Ridge. And not only are we the oldest club, we also have the oldest infrastructure. So our barns, sorry, my voice. Our barns are old. Right now, it's up to the individual members to replace. And you and I, Daryl, were talking at one time, and you suggested we start improvements for the members rather than the members having to do it. So we're going to pursue that. And with doing that, we need grants. And what we're hoping to get is councils, a resolution of support. And not only that, a generic one that we can use for future grants. That's the big thing. That's kind of it.
It's all good. No, thank you very much for coming in, and appreciate when we have an opportunity to connect with yourselves with the Saddle Club or other non-for-profits. It's great when you guys come in and approach council. When it's a delegation night, no decision will be made tonight. We've moved on to a different agenda for a decision made by council. Any questions from council? Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the short delegation. Your package was good, right? So a lot of information is already here. So, I'm sure like the rest of my councilors, we read it, we know what's going on. And the only question I was going to have, and you answered it, was like, what sort of letter were you looking for? And you just want a general, we support this project, which I think isn't that difficult. But in my experience, like they're usually looking for specific resolutions of support. So yeah, I don't see any issues in supporting you guys. I mean, I definitely support the Saddle Club. You do a lot out there, and definitely like to see expansion upon existing successes in the equestrian arena and club and all those sorts of things. So yeah, right on. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Councilor Julich.
Yeah, I really like that you guys are being proactive. I think that once you get some barns, like when your infrastructure gets a little bit stronger, then you can charge a little bit more, which helps keep the club, like it's just that snowball effect. So yeah, like whatever we need to do. And I'm sure Mayor Kakauka will get whatever we need to do to our next agenda so that we can do that letter of support for you. I'm not sure of all the ins and outs, but I'm sure with his 12 years experience he does. So thanks for coming in.
You betcha.
Okay. Any other questions or comments by council? I have a few. Not gonna let you off the hook that easy. What do you guys charge right now for, at the Saddle Club for a barn?
$80 per paddock.
As you guys apply for grants, and I know you kind of said it's an open-ended letter for, we're not sure what grants you'll be applying for. Do you know of any specifics? So you mentioned a lot of stuff in here in regards to tourism and stuff like that. I'm assuming you really haven't started with the grant process, but do you know if there'll be anything captured in the grants where you have to do certain things? Have you had that discussion? Like if you apply for a certain grant, this has to be done? And the reason I ask that is because of the letter that would come from council, it might be easier as you guys approach for different specific grants. You may need a different response. And that's why I asked that, is, you know, you may have a grant that you're applying for, but you need specifics. And if it's just an open-ended support letter, it might not be what you need. Is my only concern there when you, especially when you're not sure on the grants that you may be looking at or go after. An open-ended letter might not qualify for that grant. It would be my thoughts. I mean, and I'm not a grant writer, but sometimes they're very specific on certain grants that you will apply for, what kind of wording they want, whether that's from the municipality or another funding agent that you may be using and such, that they're looking for something a little bit more tangible within the letter.
I know that some of the grants are wanting to know how we will in the future maintain it. How we're going to be distributing money set aside for just general maintenance. And so right now, what we were planning with our budgets, that if we work it out correctly, we'll be able to put $10,000 a year aside toward maintaining the new paddocks, the new barns, as well as the indoor arena. And then we'll also be putting $5,000 towards, plus our $20,000 that we have in savings. Oh, it's like an investment fund.
Yep.
And so that way we'll be generating a certain amount of revenue off of that yearly as well.
Yeah, no, and that makes sense to me. But yeah, so I mean, I have no issue supporting the Saddle Club in regards to a letter. It might not be an open-ended letter that you're going to need. You're going to need different specific ones for certain things, which is something we can discuss at the next meeting. How it's, you know, when there's no monetary need from the district, usually the mayor can sign those letters anyways. But it's nice to communicate with council on what that looks like, especially when there's other grants out there that do want specific wording within that request letter coming from the municipality. As this process goes forward, are you looking for any funds from the district?
Not at this time. We're just hoping that we have support, and perhaps maybe we would be able to work something out with the maintenance. But everything's, right now, we're just looking for you guys to support.
Okay, thank you for that. Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. And like I had similar sort of thoughts as well when I met with staff when this was going to be on our last agenda about it. And you know, one of the ideas that were sort of thrown around was perhaps like we can agree in principle as this council that if there's any grant requests that include these specific projects that the Saddle Club is pointing out, we can give a letter of support. And my thought is like I appreciate you guys have a good list of things that need to go for, but what if you found a grant that would only fit, so like fencing, or would only fit the barn or the arena? And my thoughts would be is if we as council gave a overarching resolution of support, and then they can come to the district for a letter of support, and we wouldn't need to see that because we already approved it in principle, right? As long as it met these criteria, and of course, you know, if it meant a fence, a different project included, we might have to have a discussion there. But I think it should be pretty simple for us, and I say that as just, you know, as a guy, but I think we should be able to assist them in case they needed it specific and keep it easy. I'd hate for the Saddle Club to have to come in every time a grant rolls across the desk and say, oh, we need a specific letter of support. That's making it more complex we need to be. But yeah, I think maybe we can have staff look into it if that's even possible for us.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Any other questions by council? Just so everybody's aware, I mean, appreciate you guys coming in, but when there's no monetary amount needed from the municipality, the mayor can sign those letters. So, I mean, we'll still have a discussion with council, but we already have a policy in place. I mean, still appreciate you guys coming in and giving an update what your thoughts are and what you're looking at doing out there. I think it's really, really important. I mean, you do so much for the community with, light up out there with what you guys are doing during Christmas and stuff like that. I mean, people come out there, so we appreciate everything you're doing out there. We'll get it in our next agenda. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Okay, moving on to the Tweed Peace Project. Alan Williams, Maril, Swan, and Roseann Trudeau to present to council on the Tweed Peace Project. I'm assuming via Zoom.
Yes, I'm here. Yes,
All right, welcome.
thank you. Hello, Mr. Mayor and District of Tumbler Ridge. Thanks for taking the time to hear us out. I'm zooming in from Tweed, Ontario on behalf of the Tweed Peace Project. And I do have a representative from our committee here in attendance as well. Before I say any more, I wanted to acknowledge the unimaginable tragedy your community experienced on February the 11th, 2026. On behalf of our committee and our community, I extend our deepest sympathy to the families who lost loved ones, to those who were injured, and to every resident whose life has been touched by this heartbreaking event. No words can erase that pain. At a time in human history when the world seems increasingly focused on war, violence, tragedy, and division, we believe we are being called to help shift our global collective focus toward peace. We are here today to invite the District of Tumbler Ridge to become part of an expanding international Pay It Forward peace initiative rooted in community, connection, goodwill, and the shared hope for a more peaceful world. Okay. We believe that when people intentionally focus on peace through thoughts, words, and actions, they help create the conditions in which peace can flourish. Even small acts of kindness and unity can inspire profound change. Some researchers suggest that only a very small number of people intentionally cultivating peace attitudes can positively influence an entire community. A peace pole can become a rallying point for this shared commitment, a place where people gather to remember, to heal, to reflect, and to reaffirm their dedication to creating a peaceful future. As that spirit grows within one community, it naturally inspires neighboring communities to do the same. Like ripples spreading across a pond, each act of hope reaches farther than we can see. As part of our growing vision, we are now prepared to sponsor and donate a peace pole to other communities. We would be honored if the District of Tumbler Ridge would accept the first peace pole in this Pay It Forward initiative. The peace pole we are offering would include the message, "May peace prevail on earth," on each of its 4 sides in languages chosen by your community. The peace pole in Tweed, we selected English, French, Mohawk, and Anishinaabe to reflect our local history and heritage. Your community would be free to choose the languages that best reflect your own identity, history, and aspirations. The only request attached to this gift is the spirit of paying it forward. We ask that within 1 year of receiving your peace pole from us, the District of Tumbler Ridge continue the chain by sponsoring a peace pole for another community elsewhere in the world. It would be offered with the same invitation to continue passing the message onward. In this way, one act of peace can ripple outward from community to community across the planet. We believe meaningful change begins locally through relationships, shared vision, and small acts of leadership that inspire others. Our hope is that this project will create lasting connection between communities while helping spread a visible message of peace throughout the world. We are delighted to answer any questions that you may have. And also, we would also be honored to welcome representatives from the District of Tumbler Ridge to our Tweed Peace Festival and Free Peace Concert on Saturday, September the 19th, 2026 in Tweed, Ontario. This annual gathering celebrates peace, community, music, and connection, and would provide an opportunity for us to formally recognize Tumbler Ridge as the first recipient in our Peace Pole Pay It Forward initiative. While we understand that travel may not be possible, we extend this invitation with sincere enthusiasm and would be delighted to welcome members of your community should they choose to attend. Thank you for considering our invitations. We sincerely hope Tumbler Ridge will join us in helping peace ripple out across the earth. With gratitude and hope, Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation and the information behind it. Again, just with delegation nights, we never make a decision on the night of the delegation, but it'll be moved forward to another agenda. Any comments or questions from council? Councillor Julik.
Hi, Ellen. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. I echo what Mayor Krakauka said, and just wanted to say thank you for thinking of us with your first Pay It Forward peace poll, and I appreciated the contact information and went and checked out the website and stuff, and I really appreciate it. It's non-denominational, and it's for all the folks out there. So I appreciate your message from your club or the Tweed Peace Project. So thanks for joining us tonight, and thanks for thinking of Tumbler Ridge.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from council? Councillor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, thanks, Ellen. I appreciate you coming to present before us. So I saw on the website, after investigating what peace polls were, which I really like the idea, I saw in some areas that they had multiple peace polls. What's the significance of that?
Multiple peace polls?
Yes.
I guess they really mean it. I have no idea why they would want multiple, but to be quite honest, I've been considering putting multiple ones here in Tweed as well, because just to continue it, so that like maybe just put smaller ones in. We have an initial granite one that's going to be installed, and I was thinking of putting smaller ones in the various parks in the community, maybe one year at a time. It's just something I've considered. And why? I guess just to keep it in the forefront of our minds, to remember peace and to keep peace in mind at all times.
Gotcha. Thanks for that. So my thoughts come to, I appreciate the pay it forward nature, and then we would do the same. But if we're willing to do that, would someone from the peace poll community be willing to present its meaning on its behalf? I mean, it's one thing for us to accept it and pay for another one, but I don't know if we could do it justice, at least myself, could do it justice representing it to another community.
I'm sorry, I'm not following.
So if we accept the poll, which is great, but if we try and present it to another community, unless we do it in a way as well as you can, they might not understand what this project is, or might not accept the offering. Would somebody from the organization be willing to present to a neighboring community or a community that we want to pay it forward to be able to reflect what this peace poll means and its significance?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not getting the whole thing. If you're saying it's a bit garbled, but I think from what I understand, you're saying is that you're concerned that the people at the other end may not want a peace poll. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying
No. What Councillor Norbury is wondering is if this is something the municipality does.
Yes.
Would your governing body, so obviously you're part of the organization, when it became our turn to pay it forward, would the presentation be from yourselves to the community picked by the district?
Oh, no, it would be from you. It would be from Tumbler Ridge to a community of your choice. Does that answer the question?
it does. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments from council? Okay, and that was my exact same question, is in regards to an issue, not an issue with the paying it forward, but like Councillor Norbury is saying is you have more information and heart for this project because you're the one that's built it. So like to me, I understand that the district of Tumbler Ridge on the pay it forward side, you know, we would find a community somewhere in the world that we like to present it to, but would the presentation be from the Tweed project?
No, it would be from the district of Tumbler Ridge.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, well, have a great night. I'll add this to another agenda to have a conversation with council.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to reports, amend 29 room bookings policy, report dated August 10th, 2026 regarding amend 29 room booking policy. Recommendation, please. Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. That council receives a mid-29 room bookings policy report for discussion.
Seconder, Councilor Julik. All in favor? Carried. Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate this coming forward. I did have a question specifically about the license requirements. Number 8, liability for insurance is required for all special events and faculty rentals. My question is, I know a lot of people use the community center for birthday parties. I've rented the room myself to have a quiet area to do an online exam. Well, does regular renters need to individual renters need to have that proof of insurance?
Mr. Bradley.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'd like to pass this over to Ms. Pittman.
Thank you, Mr. Bradley, through to Mayor and Council. Yes, for all bookings, you will require the insurance. That is something that we hadn't been doing but have been doing recently. There's a link on our website for MIABC who have like a same day you can apply, get it like relatively quickly, and then print it off so that we can see that you have the insurance. But moving forward, yes, for all rentals, they will require liability insurance. And when they choose the liability insurance, they'll have their choice of if that is going to have personal insurance for them, so anything they bring into the room, if they want coverage for that as well, or if the insurance will only cover our property.
Thank you for that. Any other questions, follow-up? Councilor Julik.
Are we able to get an example of what that might cost for somebody if they just, like, I'm gonna say room 1, I wanted to go in and rent it for the day for a meeting space? Do you have an idea what the rental cost would be for that insurance?
I think it's going to be different for every event. It depends what it is. Mr. Bradley?
Thank you, Mayor. So traditionally with the MIABC portal, you'll have a risk assessment done. So depending on what items you put into your risk assessment, that'll be the determining costs.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments, discussions from council? Councilor Norbury.
Sorry, Mayor. I really want to make sure that I have all the information. Would this include, say, like birthdays at the pool? Very, very popular place. Birthdays at the hockey rink arena.
Mr. Bradley?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, this would include all room rentals.
Including the ice service for birthday party skates.
Correct.
Any booking within the community centers, what I'm guessing you're getting at, Mr. Bradley?
Yes.
Thank you. Follow-up?
Yeah, thank you. Is there any like particular instance where this is like has brought this upon? Like, was there an incident where there was somebody who was injured and threatened to sue the district? Or is this just a proactive measure?
Mr. Bradley?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. That I will pass over to Ms. Pittman.
Thank you, Mr. Bradley, through to Mayor and Council. There hasn't been an incident, but it's something that most other communities are currently doing. So going to conferences and meetings and the different groups that we have been made aware that most other neighboring communities do have the requirement for liability insurance. And it's something that we did require for certain instances, but it's just now going to be fair across the board that it's required for all rentals.
Thank you. Follow-up?
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have any more questions. I think just like a comment to everybody, like the community center is, a highlight for many children's birthday parties, right? Now we're going to have to say, like, add one more piece of administrative burden onto families that may already have challenges with technology. It's going to add another cost onto the room rentals. I think it's adding one more thing to people to access our community center when it's their community center. We're adding one more level of administration on top of this. I think it's a little too much, in my opinion. Thanks.
Thanks. Councillor Hoffman?
Thank you, Mayor. I think Councilor Norbury, you're bringing up a good point, but I think there might be a relatively easy solution if we simply do that ourselves as part of a process of booking, that we get an insurance policy and make it just a backroom possibility, that we go through our process. If it's accepted, if it gets paid 2 weeks before the booking date, that gives us 2 weeks to book the insurance for that through whatever our standard is. I'm wondering if staff feels that that would be a possibility.
Be a budget amendment, because we wouldn't be budgeted to be paying for the insurance. But
We would, because we would make it part of what we charge. Well, yes, we would need an amendment for what we charge, yes.
Mr. Bradley?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I do believe we'd have to make an amendment to the fees and charges for sure, and then implement the insurance.
Follow-up?
Thank you, staff. I think Mr. Norbury brings up a valid point, but I do think we can manage around it. And I do like the proactiveness of this policy, that every time that there's an event, we know it's covered and on we go. It just seems to be the way things have been going for years now. So I think we can work around it. Thanks.
Thanks. Any other questions or discussion by council? Got a couple questions. If we can, and maybe I misheard, but if we could just get clarity that we already are doing this now, moving forward, that it's being charged today and last week. I'd just be curious if that's what I heard. Mr. Bradley?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I believe we are already in place.
Without a policy, Mr. Bradley?
I would like to pass this over to Ms. Pittman.
Thank you, Mr. Bradley, through to Mayor and Council. So we were requiring it for some bookings previously. We just weren't doing it across the board. So I could look to see if it's in policy somewhere about liability insurance, maybe not this policy specifically, I'd have to look back, but it was used for some bookings, but it wasn't required for all previously.
Okay, thank you. So I guess my clarity would be that we talk about that we've been doing it for some bookings, and I would think that would be within our room booking policy. So it would be in here somewhere. And maybe it's not. Maybe it's a different, whether it's an event policy we have or something, I'll be honest, I didn't look it up. My question would be, like, if I had a birthday last week, was I required to get insurance last week? Would be my question. Mr. Bradley?
Thank you, Mayor. I will, again, ask Ms. Pittman if she can speak to this.
Thank you, Mr. Bradley, through to Mayor and Council. Yes, last week we would have requested you to have liability insurance for a booking.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Julik.
Yeah, I see in the report that it says we're currently requiring, just that it hadn't been, this was basically, and it was not clearly captured in the policy, so this is kind of an update to the process. So while we were sitting here, I actually went to the District Tumbler Ridge website, did the thing. For example, if I wanted to be there for a meeting for one day, I wasn't doing anything besides sitting in the room having a meeting or setting things up. It was a $15 premium with a $10 service fee. So that would be over and above the thing. And I would say, as easy as this process was, that I could sit here and do this, I understand why those things are required. In case there's liability, just going through some of my own personal liability insurance stuff, things that you think might be covered aren't. And so I think this protects the district of Tumbler Ridge, and it also protects the people that are renting the buildings if something unforeseen happened. So I appreciate that staff has brought this forward, and I'm ready to make the next motion if I can.
Yeah, you can just give me a minute. I'll
Okay.
come back to you. Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. Can we just get some different type of municipal insurance that would cover us for small events like birthday parties or low-risk activities? Is there a possibility we can be, I mean, I understand we're talking about limiting liability, but can we just get a different type of insurance.
I think that's who we use, Mr. Bradley. I think, you know,
Thank you, Mayor and Council. At this point, I do believe that, I mean, we use MIABC for our insurance, and I would assume that this would have been a requirement coming from MIABC as a suggested method of practice.
Thank you. Follow up?
Yeah, so I just want to, is this a requirement by MIABC? Because if that's the case, then we're kind of handcuffed, but this is, if this is a recommendation, that's a different thing. Mayor.
Mr. Bradley?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This would be something I have to get the information back to you guys.
Yep, appreciate that. Thank you. Anything else? Good. Okay. Councillor Julik.
That council forwards the admin 29 room bookings policy to a regular council meeting for adoption.
Seconder. I'll second it. Discussion. Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. At this point in time, I can't support this. I mean, look what happened the last time we raised fees at the community center. We had a large outpour of concern and from the community, you know, a lot of people upset. I think once this starts getting out there again, people are not going to understand the reason for it. You know, I think there's ways that we can insure ourselves against liability if we're looking to limit the risk of suing the municipality. I'm sure there's a better way than asking families and individuals to go and get insurance coverage. It's just going to mean people aren't going to be using the community center. You know, these activities people are looking forward to doing, it's just not going to happen. I think that's be a pretty sad thing. Thanks.
Thanks. Councillor Julik and then Councillor Hoffman.
I understand the concerns, and I feel like the liability insurance that they're looking for is in case somebody else is liable. So if you were to have a birthday party and the candles caught some decorations on fire and caused thousands of dollars of damage within the community center, that would still go, like if we didn't have coverage, liability coverage from the person renting the room, I think that there might be some difficulties with our own insurance, and I agree that we could investigate that because it wouldn't be our liability, it would be the liability of somebody that was in the room. And so then the District of Tumbler Ridge would have to take on that cost and that risk. So for me, when I see the simplicity of moving forward, just even from the website, and knowing that accidents happen, and I think for myself, if I didn't have the insurance, didn't know that I could get the insurance, and then all of a sudden I had to try and go through maybe my home insurance for liability, if that was even possible, and there's, you know, let's say there's $10,000 damage, like that could be a fairly big hole in my pocket if that's what the District of Tumbler Ridge's insurance told you to do, was to go after the person who was at fault. So I think that's what this is, from what I understand around insurance, that's what this policy is trying to prevent, for the district to not have to pay out of pocket and have it on their insurance, if it's even possible to have that type of coverage, and it protects the person who's renting it in case they have an accident when things are happening, like even if kids are hurt while there's an event going on, like maybe we need to get some more information as to what this is actually going to cover and that type of thing before we go ahead, and I'm okay to do that. But I think the reason I'm in support of this is because I think it protects the District of Tumbler Ridge and it protects the folks that are making the rentals in the building.
Thank you. Councillor Hoffman.
Thank you, Mayor. I just think it's premature. I think we should get our answers first and then move it on when we have a policy in sort of the vein that we want. I think the idea of, is there a sub-policy that we can get that covers everything and we charge out as part of our rental fees or whatever, that's a possibility that I would be willing to look at, as Councillor Norbury is suggesting. Or if there's just a different way of doing this where we're not just adding another charge for every event and another bit of administration for every event. I get it, for people that do this stuff regularly, it's not a big deal, but there might be a big deal for some of our residents that just aren't either comfortable or know, or are just not getting a good rate because they're following this one avenue that we're sending them. I would like to see this come back. I just would like some of the answers for what are our alternative insurance options before I send it to a regular council meeting. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Julik.
So I guess what I'm wondering is what I understand from policy admin 29. It was last looked at in 2005. So my questions would be is what are we saying to staff then to continue on as we're going until we bring it to a regular meeting? Like what would be the idea behind that? Because from what I understand from the policy that's in place, they're supposed to be charging insurance now. It just hadn't been applied across the board, and so that's why they're looking to just beef this up a little bit so it's a little clearer. So my question would be, we're still going to be charging that insurance. So if the concern is charging the insurance, we're still going to be doing that whether or not we put forward this to a regular meeting, because the current policy tells us that that's what we need to do.
Yeah, I'll go to staff here in a minute. That policy would be for the certain events, not for all the events that we are charged, that they have situated here. Mr. Bradley?
Yes, we can continue going with the policy the way that it reads now, charging insurance for certain events.
Yeah, so there's another policy, councillors, you're looking, this is the one that sounds like it updates it.
Okay, I'll look at the other one.
I guess my comments would shut off and then turn it on. Is it somewhat the same? I think we need to get that information back from MIABC if that's something that they're requesting in regards to from the municipality, that this is something they want to see. My biggest concern would be is we have just went through fees and charges. Those are raised. I understand when we go through policies at certain times, but we heard loud and clear that, you know, some of our community did not like the increase. I mean, I understand how council felt as well, but at some point, we needed to increase those fees and charges as they hadn't been done for a long time. And yes, it was a big hit initially, and obviously as we move forward, those fees and charges, we won't see that, hopefully the same aspect of it. But I do believe that we need to get that information back from MIABC if that is something they're requesting for the reasoning of the insurance that we are putting within our building, and it's something that they're requesting because of whatever. I think that information is important for council to have a discussion about. If it is being required from your insurance provider, I think there's a different conversation. If it is, again, staff, you know, going back through all the policies, trying to make them, you know, up into the 2026 years and trying to make sure that there's coverage there, then I think that discussion needs to happen as well. At this point, I won't support the motion, but I think if this does not pass, if it passes, so be it. If it does not pass, another motion can be on the floor for staff to reach out to MIABC to get that information, or have staff at least bring that information back forward so that council can give clear direction on which way we want to go. Any other discussion? Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. I apologize if this was already answered, but we already have been discussing that. It's currently in place that people who are renting need to have insurance. In this policy, it looks like the insurance requirement is new. It's the in red portion. So I'm kind of curious which policy can we look at? Because if this comes up, people are going to come up to us and we can say, well, it's here. Can we have a specific policy where it is pointed out that they need to purchase their own insurance?
Yeah, I think it's for certain events, but Mr. Bradley.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'll ask Ms. Pittman to speak on this.
Thank you, Mr. Bradley, through to Mayor and Council. I'm not sure off the top of my head if it is in policy or if it's just practice, but I know that it is required for certain rentals that we've always required liability insurance. I can kind of look further into it to see if we have it anywhere in writing in any other bylaws or policies.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for that. It's just, you know, when we deal with policies are generally pretty black and white in some areas, and we're talking about a big gray area, right? So if we're adding specificity, if we're adding clarity, it'd be good to know what that clarity is, because yeah, I know where my stance is. I want to make sure that our community center is open and accessible to the community, especially for these you know, young family events. So, you know, if we currently are requiring insurance for, you know, birthday parties, good to know, right? Thanks.
Thanks. Any other discussion? Okay, motion on the floor is that council forwards the admin 29 room booking policy to a regular council meeting for adoption. I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Councillor Hoffman, Councillor Norbury, and Mayor Kirkcalker opposed. Motion is defeated. Any other motions? Put a motion on the floor that we request staff to bring back the information from MIABC in regards to if they're requiring this added insurance for all events being held at the community center, as well as any information that we may have about what events we charge or have renters purchase insurance, and if it's a policy or just good practice. Seconder on the recommendation. Councillor Julik, discussion. Just want to make sure staff captured that. Mr. Bradley, staff captured the motion?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Going to call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Oh, carried. Take adjournment. Oh. Yep. Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to motion that staff investigate if we can get insurance that would cover small events such as birthday parties or under our current insurance.
Seconder. Councillor Hoffman. Discussion. I guess I'm fine with the report. I probably won't vote in favor of this. I understand where you're trying to go or what you're trying to get, but I think it's a little bit different when it's that the person holding the event has to be named in the insurance if that's what MIA wants. So I just wondered if it's just before, again, I think it could be something that's looked at maybe after we hear back from MIABC if this is a requirement from their side. Because to me, what I read in the policy or the changes within the policy, it's for the individual to make sure they have coverage from their side. To me, if the district's looking at just purchasing insurance, we already have that insurance, but we wouldn't have those individuals named in that insurance policy. Whoever would rent it for a birthday party or a meeting room or an event, they're not named in that. We have that insurance to cover the DTR side. That would be my only comment. Councillor Norbury and then Councillor Hoffman.
Thank you, Mayor. And my comment would be is that because we are an organization who, through our business of renting rooms, is it possible for us under a business to host these types of events? So say you go to like a bowling alley, right? You host a kid's birthday party. You're not required to provide proof of insurance at the bowling alley. You just show up and you have your birthday party. So my thought would be is there a potential type of license that we're just known for hosting these types of events and we could be covered under an umbrella insurance for all of these specific types of events? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Councillor Hoffman.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to build off that, I think it's appropriate to ask both questions at the same time, just depending. The answer becomes moot if the individual needs to be listed. I get that. But if the answer is no, then I think that question needs to be asked immediately after. So I don't think there's any problem asking for them both at this point in time. One way or another, we may have our hands tied, as you said earlier, that we just simply need to be named on separate insurance policies with individuals, and we'll deal with that if that's the answer. But I too would like to know if there's other ways around this that we can still protect ourselves liability-wise without having to do this individual legwork for every event that we're going to run from now on.
Thanks for that. Any other discussion? I guess my only comments would be like when we bring in the bowling alleys, they're charging the person that's hosting the birthday party at their business an extra event fee to cover that insurance part. That's a for sure thing. That's my concern is we're not a business. We're for the community. I understand what you're trying to look for, but again, I think it's and I understand what Councillor Hoffman just said too. I just don't I guess I can't comprehend it. So at this point, I won't supporting it. Okay, going to call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Councillor Julik and Mayor Kakalka is opposed. Motion is defeated. Okay, anything else? Okay, take adjournment, please. Okay, I'll put the motion on the floor that the August 10th, 2026 Policy Surprise Committee meeting be adjourned. Seconder, please. Councillor Julik. All in favor? Carried.